Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today. Because let's be real, as bus monitors, you guys hold the front line of child safety. You're literally the guardians of the journey. So today, we're going to walk through a step-by-step route map for mastering active supervision on your buses. We're taking all the guesswork out of safety and empowering you with some seriously life-saving routines.
All right, let's just dive right in. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be hitting 6 main stops: setting up the bus, boarding and positioning, scanning, counting and listening, encouraging positive behavior, handling challenges and emergencies, and finally, the final bus sweep.
These are the 6 core pillars of active supervision on buses. It's all about setting up the environment, positioning staff, scanning and counting, listening, anticipating children's behavior, and engaging and redirecting. And these 6 steps aren't just a checklist. They form a constant, overlapping cycle of safety that's going to guide our entire route today.
Okay, starting with step number 1, setting up the bus.
Now, you might think your job begins when the kids hop on, right? Actually, scratch that. It starts way before anyone even steps foot onto the vehicle. Take monitor Ahmed and driver Marguerite, for example. Before they even pull out of the lot, Ahmed proactively sets up their environment. He walks all the way to the back of the bus and sticks these physical white tokens onto Velcro spots underneath the last 2 seats. Then, he puts a few more under the middle seats. We're going to see exactly why he does this at the end of our explainer, but this simple physical prep work, it completely sets the stage for a flawless safety check later on.
Moving right along to section 2, boarding and positioning.
So here's the thing, you can't just pick any random seat. Your seating position actually has to change based on your staffing levels. If you're the only monitor on the bus, you need to be sitting right in the middle. Why? Well, because it gives you the absolute best vantage point to see and hear everyone. But if there are 2 monitors on board, you've got to split up. Put one person in the front and one in the back. Your physical placement completely dictates your visibility, and in this job, visibility is literally everything.
As the kids actually start boarding, using an attendance log is an absolute necessity, ideally one with child photos. Just like Ahmed does with his clipboard at every single stop, you've got to conduct a really accurate name-to-face check as they step on. It guarantees that every single child is accounted for from the very first second of the ride.
That brings us to section 3, scanning, counting, and listening.
Active supervision isn't just a visual thing, it is highly auditory too. You always have to be listening carefully for sounds that might signal danger. If you hear something unusual, maybe a child crying, or even just the subtle click of a buckle coming undone, you have to respond immediately. First, locate where that sound came from. Then notify the driver if you need to get up and move, and address the hazard right away before it has a chance to escalate.
And hey, while you're scanning and listening, you're actually teaching too. The bus ride is basically a mini classroom. Use visual cues to teach the younger kids specific bus safety terminology, and do it in an unrushed, predictable way. Point out the aisle or show them the restraint system and the handrail. When you empower kids with the right vocabulary, they understand their environment so much better and actually become active participants in their own safety.
Speaking of participation, you have to successfully conduct exactly 3 bus evacuation drills every single year. No exceptions. To pull this off, just follow a few key steps. First, find a safe, off-street location to practice. Second, clearly explain the emergency exits and procedures to the kids. And third, practice an orderly, calm evacuation so both you and the children could build that crucial, life-saving muscle memory.
Let's shift gears to section 4, encouraging positive behavior.
I absolutely love this approach. Think about saying, Hector, you found your seatbelt and buckled up. Nice work. That is a prime example of simple, highly effective positive reinforcement. By praising specific actions instead of just tossing out a generic good job, you're actually building self-control and a real sense of accomplishment in these young kids. Notice how that praise hits the nail on the head by directly naming the exact safe behavior we want to see.
Now for section 5, handling challenges and emergencies.
Look, kids are going to get overstimulated. It happens. But when it does, we absolutely must avoid the negative approach. Never use harsh tones, isolate a child, or deny their basic needs. A loud adult voice, that usually just frightens them and makes the whole situation so much worse. Instead, lean into calm coaching. Speak really clearly about expectations to the whole group, like saying, hey everyone, we should be using our quiet voices. If a specific kid is struggling, keep their dignity intact. Sit a bit closer to them and use a simple distraction. Just like Ahmed distracted a young girl named Rosa by chatting with her about her morning or maybe offering a toy, just to keep her happily occupied so she wouldn't unbuckle her seatbelt.
And finally, we've arrived at section 6,
the final bus sweep.
At the end of the day, an authorized release requires really careful name-to-face checks all over again. You aren't just letting kids hop off the bus. You've got to get a physical signature from a verified adult, a family member, or authorized program staff before that child officially leaves your care.
Which brings us to a massively important concept, the redundant system. So, what does that mean? A redundant system simply means using two or more ways, or two or more people, to ensure a child is never ever left alone on a bus. It's your ultimate safety net.
So remember Ahmed and Marguerite from the very beginning of our explainer? Let's bring that whole story full circle. After all the kids have been signed out, Marguerite and Ahmed have to check the empty bus. But how do they guarantee they actually looked at every single seat? Well, by collecting those physical white tokens Ahmed stuck under the seats before they even started the route. It's brilliant, right? It acts as the perfect redundant sweep because they literally have to physically walk all the way to the back and check underneath the seats to retrieve those tokens, confirming without a shadow of a doubt that the bus is completely empty.
It's that exact level of intentional routine that saves lives. So, as we wrap up this explainer today, I really want to leave you with a final thought to chew on. What will your redundant system look like on your very next route? How are you going to guarantee that no child is ever left behind? I genuinely hope you're leaving here feeling inspired to put these active supervision routines into practice immediately. Stay safe out there, and thank you so much for being the vital guardians of our kids.